All right, guys, welcome back, Algebra 1, to our applied lesson for Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Look, so there's 4 things that have been added in. We're going to be doing pages 10, 11, 12, and 13. And so let's go ahead and pause and start jotting this down. Remember, you can pause at any time. So it's kind of set up for you to pause so you can copy a bunch of stuff down. All right, next we got some vocabulary. This is goes into your vocabulary section. There's this page and there's a page following. So pause on this page and then pause on this page so you can get all of your vocab taken care of. All right, we'll move on. All right, now, so our learning target for this go around is if we can determine if something's a function, we're going to identify domain and range. That's going to be on page 13. So this guy right here is going to be page 13. All right, so let's do a little quick warm up here so we can just kind of take ourselves through some equations, because it's never too many equations. Draw my line. So now what I'm going to do is subtract 2 on both sides. So this is subtracting 2. And when I do that, 20 minus 2 is 18 on the right. There's an equal sign here. Never forget to write your equal sign. When we were rewriting our equations, we always keep our equal sign in. That's gone. And this is negative 9x. Now hopefully you remember that your very last step is almost always going to be division. And it's the number next to the x, or whatever the letter may be. And then that gives us a positive 1. X equals a negative 2. And remember, if negatives mess you up, please feel free to jump right in and use your calculator. It's not a big deal. So this is on page 11, by the way, in your interactive notebook. All right, so we're going to continue on page 11. You're going to want to copy these down to the best of your ability here. All right, so now that you've copied them down, let's go ahead and jump in. So look, a function, it basically only has one x, meaning like you're not going to have a repeating x. So when you look at this first one, it goes 1, 2, 2, 6, 3, 7, 4, 8. The x's are only 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a function. It's good to go. Now the second one over here, it has the 1 in the x position down twice. That automatically makes it not a function. If it goes down twice, it will not be a function. So I wanted to show you guys what a mapping looks like, because this shows up on some other testing, like state testing and SATs and stuff, so you can get used to it. This is the same way as a table, but instead of writing the numbers over them, like 1, 2, 2, 6, what this does is it draws arrows. So this arrow right here, this first one, that's 1, 1. And then you got the point 2, 1, because it goes from 2 to 1. And there's also an arrow from 2 to 4. So you can see the 2 is repeating. So because the 2 is repeating, it is not a function. Now the one on the right, these are x's. I couldn't make these numbers larger. I apologize. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 x's, and you'll notice there's only one arrow coming from each number. So you got the point 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7, 4, 7. It does not matter that the 7 repeats on the y's. What matters is the x cannot repeat. So since there are no repeating x's, this is a function. I'm going to write it down on here. No repeating x's. And this repeats a 2 in the x. This one up here repeats a 1. So that's how we can tell something's a function. We just look at that bad boy and we go, are any x's repeating? It's that fast. All right, let's slide on. Once again, you could pause at any time to copy down. So you might want to draw this graph. And now there is another way to determine if something's a function, and that's by looking at the graph. This is my favorite out of all the ways because it is the fastest, the least amount of work. So if you think about it, looking at a graph, if you have a repeating x, that means you're going to have points on top of each other. So like if you were to plot the point 1, 2, and then 1, 5, the 1, 5 is going to be directly above it because you have a repeating x. So we use what's called a vertical line test. If you can draw a vertical line anywhere, if it hits more than once, it is not a function. So this is no, or not a function, because it hits twice. And all you got to do is find one place that it would hit twice. On letter B, none of these vertical lines hit. It's a function. They hit only once. They touch the graph only one time. Same with this one over here. It is a function. Lines hit once. All right. Let's roll on. Once again, pause, guys, at any time so you can copy stuff down. You can back it up real quick and easy. All right, now this looks all kinds of crazy. So what I want you to do is take your time and just initially draw the top 3 graphs. Don't draw the bottom ones yet. All right, so here's what's happening, and here's how the bottom ones were created. This would I would love to have had this you live in class. So your domain, what we're going to do now is this is also on page 13. I forgot to identify that here. We're on page 13. Your domain is how wide a graph is. We're going to list out all the x's. So when we look at this first graph, it goes from here to here, sideways. That's what the blue lines down here are representing. I just made them black by covering them up. That was silly. All right, so now when you do that, you can see that the graph is going between 2 x values. So what I like to do, guys, is I like to actually write these numbers down. So this line here is at -3, and this one's at +1. So I can look at the very bottom and I can see my x's are between -3 and +1. That's my domain. Now the range is how tall a graph is. So that's what the red lines on the bottom graphs are representing. It's just simple, and I'm going to draw with a different color here. Let me get, how about green? So if I were to draw my lines, just like what you see underneath, the green line is the lowest and the highest point. And once again, it's at -4 is the bottom, and it goes up to 0. So the range, or the y's, are in between -4 and 0. And that's just replicated over here on the other one. So when you look at the second graph, what we're going to do is going to go to the bottom now. If you look at the blue lines, this blue line, this is the furthest left the graph goes is -5, and the furthest right it goes is -2. So this graph is in between on the x's, -5 and -2. That's a domain. The range, once again, is the height, and it's between, let's see, this bottom part here is at -4, and this top part is at +4. So it's in between -4 and 4. I hope this is starting to make sense. It's actually pretty quick once you catch it. The third graph, going sideways, the x's are the domains. The furthest left it goes is -6, and the furthest right is +6. So it's in between -6 and 6. And the range, or the height, the lowest this goes, and all of these numbers are going by 2. When I first did this one, I was trying to say -2 on this, but when you look at the scale, it's going by twos. So this is -4 and that's +4. Oh, that's a typo over here. I just caught that. Ooh, silly, silly. That is a typo. And that is your domain and range with the graphs. This might seem a little bit confusing to you, and that's okay. It's common. But we will keep working on it, and hopefully it just gets easier. If we just start remembering domain as the sideways, there's all the x's, the ranges are the height. All right, so on page 13, what I'd like you guys to do is I kind of guided you on this one. It's something you're supposed to already be doing, but every now and then I'll throw out some leading questions to help you out with your summaries. One of the most important parts of your interactive notebook is at the bottom is to make a summary. So on the bottom of page 13, talking about domain and range, I want you to write down what is one way you can identify the domain and range of a function. You should also go back to your other odd pages and write your own summary of what you see. This is our assignment. So you only have 2 problems. You can go ahead and upload these to Canvas when you got them done. Take a picture. And then I want to point out that next class, next Thursday and on Thursday and Friday during our Zoom meeting, is we're going to do a small practice test. So we're trying to figure out how we're got to practice our new testing situation. So it's going to be over the stuff we've been doing since school started. It's not going to count, but it's a way for you to see how your tests are going to run, and as for my side of you to see how the tests are going to run. So please, it's not going to be all periods, it's just going to be part of it. So please do not miss Thursday and Friday. Hey, look, guys, that's it. Y'all take care and stay safe. Bye.